Hello and welcome everyone to today's coding challenge. And today we are going to discuss a question on LeetCode, that is the question number 429, N-ary tree level order traversal. We have given an N-ary tree and we have to return the level order traversal of its nodes values. And the input serialization is represented in their level order itself. So whenever there is a null encountered in the input serialization, that means the current level gets completed and we have to now move on to the next level. Let us look at the example number 1. We have to return an array that contains some jagged arrays as 1, 3, 2, 4 and 5, 6. This is the first level, this is the second level, and this is the third level. In example number 2, we have to return 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14 in a single array. So what will be the basic approach to solve this? Basically this is exactly same as a binary tree level order traversal. The different part is the only that it contains more than two childrens. So we can solve this by using the logic of binary tree traversal on a binary tree itself. Basically we need a queue that contains root and then we just try to move on every children possible for that root node. And for every level we have to push the current level element inside an array, and after every level gets completed we have to add that current level array inside our larger or an answer array, and then we have to finally return that answer array. So let us visualize the concept behind that. We now first initialize a list of integers, and after doing that we check that the root given to us is basically null or not. If the root given to us is null, we do not have to worry about anything and we can simply return an empty array from here. And if it contains some node values, then we try to do something on the node values. First initialize a queue that contains element as node values, and we have to now push our root inside our queue. So for example number 1, let us draw our example 1 here. This is our example number 1, and if we try to draw our example number 1 in this one, and it has 3 childrens, 3, 2 and 4. And this 3 has 2 childrens, 5 and 6. Now after doing this we have to push our root inside this queue. So this queue gets a node that is 1, and this node has basically information of every child for this one. That means this node has a references for this 3, 2 and 4. So queue looks like this, and then we try to move on this queue and check whether the queue is empty or not. This time the queue is not empty, so this we will now enter inside our while loop and try to find the current size of this queue, and the current size of this queue is 1. So n contains 1, Now we now instantiate a list of integers that calls temp. So let us made a list of integers like this, and this is basically a dynamic array that we can add any number of elements inside it as we want. We will now try to run a loop for I equals to 0 till I is less than n, and we can see that I is initialized with 0 and 0 is basically less than this 1. So this for loop condition gets true and the counter goes inside our for loop, and we will now try to pop out from our QE. Node contains the current front part of this QE and the current front part contains 1. So this node, let us name as this N-ary, contains 1, and we have to now add node.val inside our temp array. So this temp contains 1, and after doing this we now have to move on every possible children of this current node. We will now try to run over every possible children of this one for node child, for node dot children's, that means this 3, 2 and 4, and try to push all the children's of this node inside our QE. So our QE is now updated like this: 3, 2 and 4. After doing this, this for loop gets over, because when we try to increment I from 0 to 1 and check that 1 is less than this 1, this condition gets false and this for loop gets over. Now we have to add our temp inside our answer, that means a bigger array. So let us add our temp inside our answer. Let us suppose this is our answer. So this temp gets added inside our answer like this. Now again check that whether the queue is empty or not, and this time the queue is still not empty, it has some elements. So now find the current size of this queue, and the current size is basically 3 this time. So update our current size from 1 to 3 like this, and now let us instantiate another temp or the empty array list first. So this array list will be empty this time. Again try to run a loop from I equals to 0 till I is less than this n. I is 0 first, so this 0 is less than 3, and we will now goes inside our for loop. We now try to extract our elements from this QE. So the front part of QE contains 3, so this node contains 3 this time. So update our node from 1 to 3. This is 3, and this gets extracted from this QE. And for this 3 we try to add every possible children of this 3 inside our QE. So for every possible children of this 3, that means this 5 and 6, we added 5, 6. Now this for loop gets over and our I is incremented from 0 to 1 and 1 is less than 3. So again counter comes inside this for loop, and this time this node contains the front part of this queue, and that is 2, and pull out the front from this queue, and now add the node dot value inside our temp. So this will be first 3, and then this 2 gets added, and try to move on every possible children of our current node. And as we can see that for this 2 there are no childrens, so this for loop will never execute for this 2, and I gets incremented from 1 to 2, and 2 is basically less than this 3. So this time node contains this front part, that means this 4, and now we have to add node dot value inside our temp. So our temp will look like this 3 to 4, and then we will try to move on every possible children of this 4, and as we can see that 4 have no references for its childrens, so this for loop will never execute for this 4, and our I gets incremented from 2 to 3, and again this for loop condition gets checked that whether this 3 is less than 3, and this time this condition gets false, so our for loop gets over. And now we have to add our temp array or our temp array list inside our answer array list. So try to add this inside our answer as this 3 2 4, like that. Now this loop gets over, and again this will check whether this queue gets empty or not, and this time this queue still gets not empty, it has some elements. Update our n from this for the current size of queue, and the current size of queue is 2, so our n contains 2, and another temp array list is created for this level, that means level 3, and now check for I equals to 0, that means is that 0 is less than this 2, yes it is true, so update our node value from this current front part of this queue, and current front part of this queue is 5, so pull out 5 from our queue, and our node contains value as 5, and now we have to add node dot val inside our temp. So this temp gets value 5, I gets incremented from 0 to 1, and the condition again gets checked that whether 1 is less than 2, and yes this 1 is less than 2, so we will now move inside our for loop and update our node value from this current front part, that means this 6, node contains 6 this time, and we will now try to move on every possible children of this 6, and as we can see that there are no references for these children's, so this for loop will never execute for this 6, and our I again gets incremented from 1 to 2, and when we try to check that whether 2 is less than 2, the condition for this for loop gets false, and this for loop gets over, and now we have to add our temp inside our answer. So our answer gets updated like this 5 and 6 into inside one array. And now after doing all this, we will again check that whether our queue is empty or not, and this time we will find that our queue gets empty and it has no more elements left to operate on them. So this while loop gets over and finally we have to return our answer. That means this for the given example. Now try to run this and check if it does passes all the test cases or not. First we have to instantiate list of integers and named as answer. We cannot initialize this list of integers for the list class because these are basically abstract. Now check if this root is null, and it is null, we have to simply return our empty answer, and if it is not null we have to initialize our queue that contains element as node because we want references for every children. Now we have to add root inside it, and we will now move on our queue until this queue gets empty. Find out the current size of queue and also initialize a temporary array named as temp. Run a for loop from I equals to 0 till I is less than n. Now try to extract the front part of this queue and add that inside our temp. Run a loop, a for each loop on every possible children of this current node like this, and push those childrens inside our queue. And whenever this for loop gets over we have to add our temporary array inside our bigger answer, and finally we have to return our answer. And let us run this and check if it is passes all the test cases or not. It is running fine, so let us submit this and check. It does passes all the test cases, and it also beats around 81% of total submissions in Java. So thank you so much guys. If you do understand the concept behind this problem, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And there is a similar question that can help you to solve this question as well, that is the level order traversal of a binary tree, and we do have a video for that as well on our channel. Please check out that video as well, and thank you so much guys.